beyond mindfulness. There's a lot of research being done these days that just, bare awareness, mindfulness, meditation helps. Yeah, the science is very clear, it helps, but you can go beyond that. Yeah, you can go a step further and do much more about transformation of the mind. Everything is actually in the nature of change. Yeah, that things are in the nature of momentary change. If you see that things in the nature of momentary change, then you will less grasp at aspects of reality or aspects in your life. It's much easier to let go. When things are a bit difficult, you can easily let go. Yeah, that's one aspect. The other aspect is seeing that there's no point in holding on to things. Even there's no point in holding on to happiness. Right? If you grasp for happiness, also that becomes a problem, because happiness comes and goes. Right? Yeah. So if you always want to be happy and it's not the case, then you can get irritated by it. So that's why you actually see with the momentary changing nature of our body and feeling and the mind, then also there's no point in grasping at happiness and no point in grasping at the separation of suffering. Yeah, if you have a suffering physically or mentally, then it doesn't make sense to grasp at the separation of suffering, because sometimes suffering is just there. Yeah, the mind is unhappy or you have some physical pain, right? Then when you cannot escape it, then you just have to accept it, right? And then eventually you can, for those who are more familiar with Buddhism, then you can see there is no, from its own side, existing entity to be found, what we call an independent self or something like that. Yeah, so that's also a kind of feature of the four close placements of mindfulness. Yeah, that we see that the ego we grasp at, or the self-identity, we think it's there, and there's a cause for many problems. You cannot find it in this process of your body, your mind, So that's kind of another feature. If you contemplate these, do this meditation on a regular basis, and then you relate it to these aspects of impermanence and aspects of unsatisfactoriness and aspects of no self. Okay, so let's now look also not only at that body and feeling, but also look at consciousness. Yeah, so that consciousness itself is also constantly on the move, right? So consciousness and its related emotions, or what we call mental factors, yeah, they're also constantly on the move. And is consciousness related with objects, so to say. Yeah, that when you hear me talking, you think in a particular way, or a thought pops up and a thought goes, So also there, if you just see and you just observe, and then also, same with feeling, you're capable of taking distance from the thought. If you take distance from a thought, there's more clarity. If there's more clarity, then it's much easier to transform. Two aspects of consciousness, right? One aspect is to see it coming and going, yeah, which is not too difficult to see or recognize. And the other aspect is consciousness itself, and that's a little bit more challenging, to recognize. We have it all the time, but we don't really recognize its pure nature, so to say, So if you recognize its pure nature, or you abide in its pure nature, then disturbance don't really influence you, right? So that's another aspect of consciousness itself. Yeah, that if you're aware of consciousness and you can abide in what we call clear knowing, or the luminosity of consciousness, then as long as you stay in that, then disturbance of mind will not really influence you. From the corner of the mind, you should have alertness and mindfulness, as we talked about previously. And if you develop those two mental factors, alertness, being aware when the mind drifts up into a thought pattern or a sound, or when the mind gets dull. Yeah, that's also an aspect we should recognize, as we talked about previously as well, that alertness recognizes the dullness or the laxity, as we call it, or recognize the excitement or the distraction. Yeah, because if there's no alertness, then sometimes we meditate and then before 2-3 minutes we think, oh, what am I doing again? So that's a lack of alertness, right? So alertness recognizes the distraction in an initial moment. Yeah, and then with mindfulness, you bring your mind back to the object of concentration, in this case, the counting of the breath, right? So the real meaning of mindfulness is, in all the traditions, the Theravada tradition as well as the Sanskrit tradition, is that it's remembrance, right? That you remember your instruction, or you remember, in this case, that the instruction of counting of the breath.